sound clip time. Let's do a 0 to 55 up here. You ready? Come around the corner, nice and easy. Okay guys, so put fresh oil in the car. It's crazy. This is like the third oil change this car has had, and I think I've put like 400 miles on it. This is like as OCD as it gets. Obviously, I first bought the car, I changed oil, we sent it off to do an oil sample just to make sure everything was good, and then of course didn't drive it, did the heads and cam, another oil change number 2, put about 100 miles on it just to make sure everything was good, let the cam brake in, flush out the assembly lube, so I just changed it again. So oil change number 3. Alright, so I just pulled off the interstate so I can make a turnaround here. Now the trick is to try and make this light without having anybody in front of you. Obviously I'm front right here, but now I have to wonder if the people from that direction are gonna make a turn and get in front of me and accelerate very, very slow. Easy. The sound transformation when the valves open and it goes through the RPM, this thing sounds terrific. So if you're wondering, if you're asking, we do not have the crackle tune. I don't want the crackle tune. I have no interest in any kind of crackling. Even though people want to tune for crackle, it usually means you're burning fuel in the tailpipe or in the exhaust, which is not really what you want. Not good for the mufflers, not good for the exhaust pipe, and I don't like the sound, especially the real obnoxious crackle. It's not my thing at all. See if I go nice and easy right here. The valves don't open, the valves stay closed. It stays very mellow. So the car sounds so much better outside the car with the lump and the crackle and whatever you call it, the shimmying. It sounds fantastic. Inside the car, I'll be honest, I'm getting kind of fed up of it. Am I supposed to defend it because it's a Corvette, and if Corvette guys are watching, I'm supposed to tell you how everything is awesome and it can't do a thing wrong? No, I'm just being honest. It's kind of getting annoying. Once you get rolling, obviously you don't feel it, so it's not noticeable, and obviously it makes up for the sound and the power. It's totally fine. But sitting there, if I had to sit in traffic daily and deal with that, oh, that cam would come out. Let's see if we can roll into it over here. Make sure there's nothing coming that we can get onto. Alright, ready? Go. Suddenly the rumble and shaky shake is worth it. The sound and the power. I take it back. It's totally worth sitting there shaking around like a fool. Alright, so I got the Corvette on the ramps, not on the lift. George is building his turbo kit on the lift, so taking advantage of our race ramps. Right now, just going to do a quick kind of a once-over and an oil change. I'm going to check the lifters, make sure nothing is backing off. People questioned on the coating, what did I think? Well, as you might have seen, we had to scrape and scratch the headers enough that I kind of rubbed through the coating. So I decided to go and put black over the Swain Tech, and so far, apart from a scratch there, putting it in, the coating is holding up fine, and so is the paint. It's just the heat-proof paint. So what I'm going to do is remove the valve covers, which on this side is quite easy. I'll show you. Just going to check that the lifters are all snug, everything looks good, and we'll go ahead and change the oil. Alright, so taking a quick look, everything is in good shape, everything looks normal, all the bolts are tight, all the clips are in place. If you watched our earlier episode, you'll see that we had problems with the trunnions. The particular brand that I got had a binding issue, so like I mentioned, I am going to kind of circle around once we've got a few miles on this and like a couple of track events. I'm going to pull a couple of random rockers off and look at it and take it apart again, partly for my own peace of mind, and I'll share it with you. I know there's obviously a lot of naysayers, a lot of people that like to find something wrong if they can, that love to point something out if it gives them pleasure, and they do. So if I can show you that and give you a little bit of confidence too for the guys that are actually following along and interested in long-term wear and stability of these parts, I'll show you. Alright, so basically the bed liner that is in my truck, it's the same company that did these valve covers for me. These are off one of my past C6s. These are probably 10 years old and have about 20,000 miles on them. So I saved these just for a future project, which ended up being this car. So this whole reasoning is just to try and quieten the valve train, because it seems like whenever you do a cam and heads, the LS motor gets a little bit loud and tappy. This just helps kind of smother that sound a little bit. So for the people questioning, does it hold up? The answer is yes. Alright, so the oil is only about 100 miles old. I know I'm being a little OCD, but whenever you do new heads, new cam, all those parts, as they kind of break in, they're going to release a little bit of material, and of course we use assembly lube, which mixes with the oil, and right now we're just kind of getting that out. So again, I'm all about being extra precautious with my oil. It's relatively cheap compared to what could happen from wear. Alright, so it's put back together. Finally put the red covers back on, which is something I really like about this motor, is the looks. So this is the LS7 manifold, which is the manifold I like. There is better manifolds to make power. There is a Fast, there is the Harley, there's a few others that have proven to make 20 horsepower over this one. Even though we did port this one, all we did was clean it up. I don't like the look of those manifolds, and I also don't like the look that you have to remove these and you have to have the coils all sitting up. Again, that's just personal preference. I don't like it. I would rather sacrifice 20-30 horsepower and have something that I like, especially for this car. It has more power than I need. For the road course, it's got plenty of power. I don't really need the 560 wheel that it's making already, but again, I really like the look of the motor. So I think I'm going to drive the S2000 next. I'm going to do the same drive. So I said this before, and I've had people give me the feedback and agreed with me. This feels like an S2000. For you S2000 guys, the Honda S2000 is a terrific car. It really is. It's one of those cars. It's one of the best built cars I know of. It's unbelievable the fact that you can take a stock car and double the power and not even think about it. So here we are in the S2000. It's actually surprising. It's about to rain again. Something about this car and rain. Well, even though this car is quite a bit less horsepower than the Z06, the Z06 of course is 560 to the wheels. This car is about 200 to the wheels, so quite a bit difference. But one thing I've talked about in past videos, and the people that get it. Well, there's something about having the right amount of balance, meaning the right amount of power for the chassis of the car. So even though the number sounds great, 500-600 horsepower, a lot of it depends on the weight of the car, whether it's a good balance for the car. And it's not just about, well, we can put wider tires on it, bigger brakes, bigger suspension. Okay, so when I talk about balance, 560 in the Z06 is a handful, but it's not overpowering the car. The car can handle it, the brakes, the suspension. Obviously, the car is much bigger, it has much bigger wheels, bigger tires. This car, I believe 350 to 400 is well balanced for this car. 400 being perfect, 450 being a little overbalanced, meaning a bit more power than you need, but it's nice to have it. But 600, it's overpowering the car. I still don't think the car handles it very well. Okay, so I'm kind of making fun of it, I know. It just takes so long to get going. It's like waiting for a bus. Alright, so I had to cut that short because it was taking way too long. So you guys hopefully you guys are kind of going along with my humor. As you get the idea, it's kind of slow. I'm going to put it on the dyno just to kind of show you, but I'm guessing it's about 205 horsepower to the wheel, something like that. That's about what the AP2's dyno at bone stock. So like I mentioned, this is an ongoing series, so check it out. Go to the playlist. One of the next things we're going to do is put on the dyno, get a baseline run just the way it sits. We're going to go over the maintenance, all the things that I want to do and you should do with your S2000, whether you just bought it or you don't know when it was done. All the fluids that you should change, the fluids I change, the things I say that you should do. Obviously, it's all matter of opinion. And then, as I mentioned, I want to talk about the shifter. The shifter doesn't feel particularly good. It feels, honestly, it feels like a knife in a jar of marbles. It goes through the gears, but it's very clicky and clunky. I do have a really good fix for that, and it makes a tremendous difference. I want to show you step by step. I've shown it in the past, but I'm going to show you a little bit more detailed so you can follow along. I'll show you exactly what tools to use, all the little tricks, which pair of pliers you're going to need, how you're going to hold this. For instance, the little rubber boot that people have a hard time with, I'm going to show you how to do it. So follow along, hit the subscribe, hit the like, and you'll see what we do when we do it.